Hello my friends, how are you today? Welcome to another video here in the Finance Hydra channel. My name is Nathan. It is a pleasure to see you guys around here, and today we will analyze the markets. We are going to analyze indices, individual stocks, and I really believe you guys are going to enjoy this video. If you are already my subscriber, remember to click on the like button because you know that you're probably going to like this video because our content is pretty good. If you're not my subscriber yet, I invite you to do so because we have a very nice community over here. Now, let's analyze the S&P. Let's start analyzing the S&P. It is great that we are breaking this resistance over here because the S&P triggered a pivot point in the daily chart. We had a higher bottom and now we are having a higher high. This is very good, a very good sign. In the weekly chart, it feels like it crashed since the end of August over here, just to retest the 21 EMA in the weekly chart. Right now in the daily chart we have good reactions. In the 1 hour chart we see a healthy bull trend and no possible top signs the moment I am recording this video at least. The Nasdaq Index is also going up nicely, 0.57%. We already filled this gap over here. Now it seems we are heading to 15,355 points, this black line up here. It is weird, but it seems we have an inverted head and shoulders, right? I mean, it is not the best inverted head and shoulders ever, but it looks like we have one over here. And because what is an inverted head and shoulders or a regular head and shoulders? They are just two pivot points mirrored. Okay, so we had a bearish pivot point, now we see a bullish pivot point which was triggered. We are breaking the EMA again. This is very good. What's more, the 21 EMA is pointing upwards right now, so it's going to work as a support next if the Nasdaq corrects. This is all pretty good. The Dow Jones Index it seems it wants to retest the all-time high, and I do believe it will. The problem is if it's going to do a pullback before or after that, right? I think it's going to do a pullback before that, but we'll see. This reading is especially true because if you look at the European indices right now, UKX, the FTSE index, it's doing a bearish engulfing over here near a resistance level, so it's not looking that good right now. It looks weak, so a pullback to the EMA is acceptable and plausible. CAC, it's already dropping, okay, and this is like an abandoned baby candlestick. I'm so sorry guys. A candlestick pattern called abandoned baby. This is interesting. This is quite interesting, but I don't believe the trend will reverse for good. All right, I believe we're gonna see just a pullback to the EMA right now. The DAX index is doing a bearish Harami candlestick pattern. It's not the best sign ever, but indicates a little bit of weakness. IBOV is crazy. IBOV is simply amazing. It dropped a lot today. At one moment we were doing a bearish engulfing over here. Now it's flying. We are reacting nicely. I think we are gonna reverse the trend in the midterm. Okay, given the weekly chart as well, I think it's pretty easy for it to fly again and retest one of the retracements. Let's use some Fibonacci over here. If we use Fibonacci, it's plausible to see a pullback to 122,000 points easily. All right, and that's where I see IBOV in the next few days. Shanghai Composite is dropping, but it's not doing anything meaningful today, this week, etc. So I don't think it is interesting right now. Now let's talk about individual stocks. If you are still here and you are not a subscriber, man, I think I deserve your subscription right now because we already watched the most boring part of the video. Now is where the video gets really interesting. So remember, click on the subscribe button to join our community. All right, thank you very much. Let's start talking about Facebook. Facebook, it feels like last week we found a support level down here, but we don't see any support level, right? It feels like we stopped it in the middle of nowhere. However, if you look in the weekly chart, we just retested the 50% Fibonacci's retracement in the weekly chart. Now, we are doing this reaction over here. If you look closer, we did a bullish pivot point. Okay, we triggered a bullish pivot point. This black line over here was a pivot point because we dropped it, we did a bottom, then we went up and we dropped it, doing a higher bottom than the previous bottom. Now we are breaking the previous resistance, the previous high. This indicates reversal. Where I see Facebook right now, I think Facebook is going to fill all of its previous gaps in the 1 hour chart at least. Then we'll see how to proceed on Facebook. Apple is pretty good, is looking pretty good. Just like Facebook, we retested the 50% retracement in the daily chart, in the weekly chart as well. Now in the daily chart, it feels like we are triggering a pivot point as well. We are breaking the 21 EMA too. This is also pretty good. What's more, it feels like the EMA is trying to point upwards. I think it is already pointing upwards. These are all good signs for Apple. I think this is a midterm reversal and we're going to seek $151. This resistance area over here, this secondary resistance area. Amazon also triggered a pivot point. The pivot point on Amazon is pretty clear to me, okay? It did an N, right? A higher bottom, a higher high. Now we are breaking the resistance, breaking the EMA with good volume, and we have one gap to fill and the second monster gap to fill. This is an earnings gap, okay? And I do believe it's going to be filled. All right, so Amazon has a lot of upside potential in my humble opinion. We are doing just fine. Now, Netflix is doing a sideways correction, okay? What I always like to call as a time correction, because sometimes the momentum is too strong, so a stock might not drop as we want, but since it already went up a lot, it can't keep going up because, well, the market has to rest at some point. Then it does this, time correction, sideways correction. It does nothing, waiting for the EMA to catch up with the price to offer a support level for us over here. Then we will see how to proceed. If we lose these support levels, all right, probably Netflix is going to drop a little bit more. It has plenty of room to drop in the weekly chart because we are far from the 21 EMA. However, as long as we don't see any bearish sign, there is nothing for us to do but believe that the bull trend will continue, okay? And Google is looking good. It's a healthy bull trend, doing higher highs, higher lows in the 1 hour chart. In the daily chart, we triggered a pivot point over here. It's not as good as the pivot point seen on Amazon, but it is a nice pivot point as well. Pullbacks to this purple line or even to the EMA would be opportunities to buy or to increase positions. Okay, this is how I see Google right now. The FAANGs index is looking quite strong, going up 0.80% more than the Nasdaq Index over here. And if you add Microsoft and Tesla to this equation, it's going up 1.05. So yeah, it's beating the market, it is beating the Nasdaq. Speaking of Microsoft, we have a new record high today. Right? That's very good. Microsoft is doing a new record high. This tells us that, okay, Microsoft is indeed a true monster. It dropped it to the EMA in the weekly chart. Now we are just going up. Is now a good time to buy? Of course not. The good time to buy was here, near the support level, at the gap area, and near the EMA in the weekly chart. Right now, I think it is too late. The risk-reward ratio is not making too much sense on Microsoft. I think if they do a pullback, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, especially Amazon I really like. This pivot point was pretty good and crystal clear to me. If these stocks do a pullback to their EMAs again, to their support levels again, I think all of them are going to be opportunities to buy. And Tesla is quite close to this resistance level over here at $880. I think it's gonna hit there. I do believe it's gonna hit there. I am still a little bit skeptical about if you're gonna break it from here, okay? I am very skeptical about it. I think if we retest this resistance area, the chances of a bearish reaction are pretty high, especially because we are far from the 21 EMA in the daily chart. We are far from the previous support levels, and we have earnings this week, so we have to be very careful about that. Statistically speaking, Tesla always drop in the day afterwards earnings. Okay, it always drops. So we have to be extremely careful with Tesla right now. I do not believe now is a good time to buy. A good time to buy was near the EMA over here in the daily chart, or near this purple trend line as well. Now I think it is way too late for us. However, the bias is still clearly bullish, and we don't see any bearish indicator for now. Okay, only the fact that we are near a resistance and we have earnings this week. Okay, this creates a bearish expectation, but we have no, price-wise speaking, we have no bearish signs yet. NIO is flying a lot, more than 5% today, is the winner from this list. All right, NIO is going up nicely, and this reaction is pretty good because we just retested the support level of this gigantic pennant pattern in the weekly chart. So is now a good time to buy? No, because we are near the EMA over here, and we are quite close to fill this gap, which is going to be a resistance for us. So now is not a good time to buy. A good time to buy was near the support level in the weekly chart. However, if it does a pullback to the EMA, just like Tesla, just like Amazon, just like Microsoft, Google, etc., if it does a pullback, that's going to be amazing. Probably it's going to be another buy sign. However, right now, I don't think so. XPEV is flying. I think XPEV deserves a pullback more than Tesla, more than NIO. All right, this movement was pretty impressive. So I think it's going to be opportunities, but only after their pullbacks. Lee is dropping, however, the candlestick is bullish. It's showing a little bit more weakness than the other stocks, but still, it is still looking good. If you look at NVIDIA is doing the famous gap reversal ritual, all right? It did all the 4 types of gaps. This gap over here, which I already erased because it was filled, was an exhaustion gap, okay? Runaway, breakaway, common, exhaustion. It did an inverted head and shoulders, filled the exhaustion gap for good. Now it's doing higher highs, higher lows, trading above the EMA, holding at its support levels. So yeah, the gap reversal ritual was triggered. It already filled the exhaustion, the common, and the breakaway gap. Now it's heading to fill the first runaway gap. That's how I see NVIDIA right now. At this moment, it's 100% bullish. However, since we are near this resistance, we don't have too much upside potential right now, but it is looking good. Pullbacks would be opportunities to buy. Palantir is looking good. It's looking crazy. It's already in a bull trend, doing higher highs, higher lows. In the daily chart, we see that the EMA in the daily chart is a problematic resistance for us. So we have to break the EMA in the first place. But if we do, Palantir will trigger a bullish pivot point in the daily chart, and that's meaningful. Okay, so what's more, we are quite close to the EMA in the weekly chart. So if we break last week's high, which is at the same time this black line over here at 24.71, and it's also pretty close to the EMA, if we break this triple resistance level, Palantir has everything to fly again to the 29s, because we have no other meaningful resistances to stop us from there. Okay, so Palantir is looking impressive. However, we must wait for it to break 24.71. That's the key point you must watch carefully from here. AMD, it broke the $114.49. That's good. That's very good. Now, the all-time high is our next target. Okay, and I do believe it's going to hit there. The problem is we don't know if it's going to do a pullback before or after that. I believe we're going to see pullback before that. Okay. However, this is just my personal expectations. We'll see how to proceed if AMD gives us more signs this week. My friends, this is your last chance to click on the like button and to subscribe to this channel because this video is over. Thanks a lot, my friends. Stay safe. Farewell.